we were growing fast, as I said, and we had this customer support system that our customers absolutely loved. Less than 2-minute response times, 96% plus CSAT ratings, but it wasn't scalable. And so the big question we're asking ourselves, how do we take our customer loved support and scale it cost effectively?
Hi, and welcome to Mission Ops Possible, a podcast for and by operation leaders. I am Guillaume, the head of marketing at Forest Admin. At Forest Admin, our team and our solutions are fully dedicated to operations. So we created a podcast fully dedicated to operations too. In each episode, I invite a different operation leader to speak about their vision, their tips, and their stories in the trenches. And on that front, today's guest is not going to disappoint. So in this episode, my guest is Mark Rummel from Givebutter, an all-in-one fundraising platform for nonprofits. Mark is VP of Customer Experience and is gently agreed to share some of his best stories and tips. So we're going to have fun today and learn a lot. Hello, Mark. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to join you on your new podcast.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit more about Givebutter first?
Yeah, no, definitely. Givebutter is the home for nonprofits changing the world. We help them streamline their fundraising, marketing, and donor management in one powerful platform. And we're really proud to be rated number one on G2 and other review sites across many categories, including affordability, ease of use, and I'm particularly proud of customer satisfaction.
We were going to talk about that because definitely that's the big
Yeah.
one. Sure. When did you start at Givebutter?
So I'm coming up on my 4-year anniversary at Givebutter in just a few months. But I was actually a customer and fanboy of Givebutter's for 2 years before that, when I was the marketing director at the third largest Habitat for Humanity affiliate here in the U.S. And I just absolutely loved using Givebutter as a customer, and then was really excited to be able to make the transition over to work with them full time.
That's always a great story when you like a solution and you join them afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then in terms of my role here, being at a startup that has changed and evolved over the years. I
As you
think I
would
was,
expect.
yeah, I think I was maybe employee 12 or 13 or something like
Wow.
that. Now we have over 100 team members. But today, as the VP of customer experience, I oversee our customer support team, our trust and safety team, and I help ensure that our voice of customer is well represented across our company, particularly with our product team.
Yeah. So you just said you joined as number 12 and you're 100 people now at Givebutter. So definitely it means you've scaled quite a lot. You've grown quite fast. Is something that you actually plan for?
Yeah, no, definitely. So we've definitely had a lot of scaling for sure. When I first joined Givebutter, we had helped thousands of change makers raise hundreds of millions of dollars for good causes. And now, almost 4 years later, we've helped millions of change makers raise more than $3 billion to help further their mission. So it's definitely been a time of growth and scaling and figuring out those things. And so um, during this time of growth, about a year and a half ago, we were growing fast, as I said, and we had this customer support system that our customers absolutely loved. Less than 2-minute response times, 96% plus CSAT ratings, but it wasn't scalable. And so the big
Mm.
question we were asking ourselves at that time was, how do we take our customer loved support and scale it cost effectively? And so that question led us to two experiments that we wanted to run, and we ran them simultaneously.
Okay.
Usually it's nice to take one experiment at a time, but we were just growing fast and we needed to solve this.
So you did
And
the startup way, you have two experiments,
exactly.
you run them the two at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? And so the first one was transitioning our frontline support from the US to the Philippines and rolling out an AI support bot.
Mhm. So which question did this raise, like the scaling of your ops? Like clearly you're talking about BPO. We might talk about that first, how you outsource some part of it. And maybe you have a few stories there on how you managed to keep that quality of that satisfaction you had from your customers and not lose that, which was, I think, a big part of your DNA, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was, I think that was one of the big kind of fears going into these experiments was that we had something that worked so well that our customers loved, and we didn't want to break that.
Mm.
And so in that we really did our research. We really looked into different solutions and different options. It wasn't anything that we went into lightly. We really wanted to understand how we could not just do this the way that everybody else does it,
Mm.
because even just when we looked at our support in the past, we did things differently. I mean, most people aren't used to a customer support experience where they have 2-minute response times and they
Yeah.
actually walk away and they enjoy their support experience. And so we knew that we couldn't just look at the blueprint of other companies, whether it was companies using BPOs or different things. And so we found some other startups and peers that had transitioned over to the Philippines, and we
Okay.
really leaned on them and their experience and some of the things that they had done for doing their own sourcing of and hiring, so that we could have that direct connection with the hiring process and not just relying on another company to maybe give us people
Yeah.
that would be of good quality. And so that was great. And then when it came to the AI side, um, that was the early days. It
That
was
was the right time. Yeah,
there weren't too
exactly.
many there weren't too many others that we could go to. So we were, really kind of in the frontier there and pioneers, just doing what we could. But we luckily had a great tool in Intercom, which is our customer support hub, that was really being innovative and investing in AI and going right along with all the new developments. And so we really benefited from our vendor that we'd chosen, the innovation that they were already investing in.
Yeah, so it's interesting if I sum up or I try to generalize a little bit those two things that you did. One of them is clearly speaking to other people who have done it, to try to get best practices, and I feel like you found some guiding principles there. And also talking to existing vendors, which you did with Intercom, so that you could grow alongside them.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Interesting. And by the way, so you are Forest Admin customer. Did you also feel the same love when you were growing and adjusting with Forest Admin?
Having Forest Admin has been a great part of our ability to scale and grow. I should have looked this up ahead of time, but I know that we've been with Forest Admin for more than 4 years. It's probably closer to 6 or 7, I would think at this point, because we've been with Forest Admin for a long time, and it has been the hub and the back office of Givebutter for many years. And it has scaled so well for us. When we go from just a smaller record of customers or smaller records of transactions to now millions and millions of those records and transactions, all living in Forest, where our team can track and understand, particularly our support team and our trust and safety team, that they have access to the customer information they need to take the actions that they need with those customers is really critical. And we've just absolutely loved being able to scale and um, have Forest Admin be there to help us scale smoothly.
Mhm. Are there other tools that you've been using during this massive scale period that you had that you would recommend to fellow operation managers?
Yeah, no, definitely. So the 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 three big ones that I would call out, are one, what we've we had a great partner in Intercom. Anyone who
Mhm.
is in the customer support world, they are just on the cutting edge. Even I just saw recently announced that Anthropic, one of the leading AI companies out there, actually uses Intercom for their own customer support,
Mm.
instead of building it themselves, because Intercom's really leading the way there. So that was a great tool there. On the trust and safety side, we have a tool called Sift that we are now using, and it has just been amazing. It's a machine learning tool that helps us fight fraud faster. And so
Okay.
it is out looking for patterns and trends and raising suspicious activity, and maybe like automatically taking action to block things on the platform, or sending things over to our trust and safety team for review. And it really has been an amazing tool to help us not just look at like these broad groupings of customers that we think might be suspicious, but like really have the team dedicate their time to the truly suspicious activity that they really need to have in front of them. And so
Mhm.
Sift has been a great tool. And then with Forest, just particularly calling out the inboxes feature. I think that's
Yeah.
probably one of the ones that I have really loved to see our trust and safety team leverage, where they had a whole smattering of kind of jerry-rigged inbox reviews that they used, and to have all that unified within Forest Admin under the inboxes has been so great. So we have a nonprofit verification request come in, and that now can go directly into a queue, and or maybe someone's requesting a payout, and we need to review that payout before it goes out. Well, back when our team was smaller, we might have one person
Yeah.
start at the top of the list and work their way down, and one person work their way up from on the list. That doesn't scale very well. And so now having a larger trust and safety team, and to be able to have true inboxes where they can go and have the next record assigned to them, and when they're done with it, they check it out, or they can escalate it to another inbox for a manager to review. It's just really made that whole process so much smoother. And the other thing with Force Admin that was so great is that while the engineering team is needed to get the data synced up and it's in, and the data can move in and out, um, being able to be no code, where we're able to set up inboxes and segments and workspaces and all that no code,
Yeah.
is huge. Because as we grow, engineering time is probably one of the most scarce, you know,
Yeah.
the most sought after, things that everybody at the company wants, is
I think we
some
could
time.
do another podcast just on that topic of how you manage to get the tech resources on your project.
Totally, totally. And so we're always fighting for those engineering resources, but to be able to go in and set up workspaces and
Mm.
set up inboxes without having to submit a single ticket to engineering for those to function is amazing, and so appreciated.
Yeah, I'm sure our team will be pleased with what you just said. So
Yeah.
I will make sure that they listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
I want to go back to you and to Givebutter, and you hinted to this when we started the conversation that uh, you had unexpected, I would say, positive results regarding customer satisfaction when you actually deployed AI. And I think that that to me is a great learning for people who are probably in the same shoes as you were a couple of months ago, and are wondering, no, what is going to happen with to my CSAT if I deploy AI in a front-facing job? And
Yeah.
I wanted to have your story on that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So again, it was the early days. It was the frontier of AI and in support. And I feel like we're still there today, but just to
Mm.
see how things have improved over that time. But both the experiments, whether it was going overseas or the AI, there was just a lot of these were top down decisions, and so there was a period of having to really get that internal buy-in from the team
Yeah.
because we had done things a certain way for a long time, and these were going to be big changes. And there are stereotypes of what people think outsourced overseas support looks like, or there's stereotypes of what a bot experience is in support. And
Mhm.
really in that conviction that no, we can do this better, or as we would say at Givebutter, we could do this butter.
Yeah.
And so really getting that internal buy-in and taking the time to research and figure it out and bring the team along with us, at least the management team, on to understand why we were doing this and how we wanted to do it differently was really critical to kind of how we were rolling this out and bringing it about. So we as we rolled out the AI, we were early stages at like 35% of the conversations that it would be served would get resolved. The others had to be like sent on to the human, but and we were
Okay.
down at
So
like
that was your initial prediction, right? Or is
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
also? Yeah.
yeah. So it was like 30%, 35% was where our resolution rate was. I think we had about a 60% CSAT for the bot. And so
Okay.
like already it's like, I don't know, like we'll see how this goes. But now fast forward and we are at more than 50% resolution rate with the bot. It is over 80% CSAT for the bot, which is
Well,
not typical for a bot. And you know, and it's one of those things that we actually like. There were times when we thought, okay, well, our highest value customers, like our managed customers, maybe we should give them an ability to just bypass the bot
yeah, because
immediately.
they are your VIPs. You want them to have like someone to talk to and not necessarily speak to your bot. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. And
that's your first thinking when you go into this kind of project. Yeah.
yeah, no,
But then
totally.
you
And so,
said something else. I know the next part of the story, so I'm really excited about it. So.
yeah, yeah. But then, we realized that actually our highest value customers start giving us this feedback of, man, we love this new AI support bot because we can just go in and like put questions in and it just immediately spits answers out for us. And we already had fast response times, but I mean, it's even faster now. And it's like, and now it's just like one after another, one after another. They can just like get those responses really quickly and they're very accurate. And so what we found is actually we don't want to cut the AI bot off for anyone because it's actually a really great experience. But our model is that we are AI first with a human one click away.
Mhm.
So that human is just right there, ready to go. But it was interesting because as the bot started to take over more and more of the conversations, we realized that we really had to help the team continue to scale up their own abilities because no longer were they getting just
Oh, they
the
didn't have
easy
an age
questions.
on the boat. Yeah.
They now are getting the most complex questions. And so like our time
Mm.
to resolve tickets was actually increasing because those quick, easy questions were the low hanging fruit was getting picked off by the
Yeah,
by the
by the
AI
boat.
support
Yeah,
bot.
yeah.
And so now they're having more complex tickets on a regular basis. And it wasn't, okay, I've got one complex one and I've got an easy one. It was like complex, complex, complex. And
Mm.
so making sure that the team had the resources that they needed and that we adjusted some of our KPIs so that we didn't have, you know,
Yeah, you don't
un
want to lose your best performers because they are not performing anymore because you have not changed incentives. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So that was important to like keep morale high, was
Mm.
just making sure that our KPIs evolved with our processes.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting what you just said, because we are at that moment where we know that AI can replace some human jobs in the front lines, but how you do it so you don't lose your best performers, because you will always get those tough questions that are not easily replied by a bot. And I also like that, that story that you have, that power users, they know what they're doing in your solution, and so if they have a question, they used to talking to a bot. They don't necessarily want the VIP treatment because they're really happy with having this front line, which is even quicker than a human. So
Yeah.
all that I think
Yeah.
is like, to me, is food for thought for
Yeah.
people in operations.
Definitely. Well, and one of the other things, with
Yeah.
transitioning the frontline team from the US to the Philippines was finding new roles for our US team,
Yes.
that had been with us for a while. And so, one of our support agents in the US was promoted to our QA manager. So now we have someone who's been here for years in the US and now is reviewing and an integral part of the quality assurance for the overseas team. Another team member was promoted into our knowledge management manager,
Mm.
and that we found became like this really critical role for AI, was because our help center is our AI bot's like primary food source.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we had made investments in our help center prior to these experiments was really great. Early days at Givebutter, we had like the whole like everybody on the support team had to like spend some amount of time working in the help center and keeping it updated. And that was a
Okay.
recipe for disaster. There was like
Oh
no
yeah.
consistency of like writing style, and some people loved it, some people hated it. It was just
Mm-mm.
not a good recipe to have like so many cooks in the kitchen for our help center. So part of scaling was like making the help center a priority, promoting someone who was really skilled, who was, back when everything was assigned,
Someone who loved it.
we were like,
Yeah.
Alyssa's really good at this. We should have her do all of these. Like maybe we should pull her out of the frontline inbox and like
Yeah.
just have her focus on this. And so that's been really great. And our help center is a huge part of what we would, call our deflection rate. So,
Mm.
deflecting customers from even our AI bot or deflecting them from humans. We have an 85% self-serve support rate. And so that is like
Okay.
customers that come to a help center or some type of proactive educational material that we embed in the product,
Yeah.
that they are getting their answers in the help center or it's through some self-serve manner. And then within the next 24 hours, they don't reach out to support. So,
Mm.
um, so knowing that like 85% of our volume is deflected because we've invested in our help center and making it such a great resource is huge. And then it just makes the AI support bot an amazing experience because it always has that great information from the help
It has
center.
the
And
right answers. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
every time Alyssa makes an update to that help center, it it like updates what the information that's fed into the AI bot. So like whenever
Mm.
there's new product releases, things like that, the help center is like the first place that is updated.
Yeah. We're seeing this in, at some of our other customers, where the knowledge base is really the central piece that helps with this kind of transitions,
Yeah.
and also helps with this complementarity between human support and automated or bot support. So I think it's great you're pointing this out. Let's jump to this, because I think it's a good segue. Like, we're speaking about talent, and you also already spoke a little bit about that, but you might have seen that we did a playbook for 2025 on how to integrate AI and all of that.
Yeah.
And for me, one big part of that playbook was how you don't lose the people that you have in the team and how you help them upskill. Do you have other techniques or no tips here that you would recommend? You clearly said like there are some people we pulled out of the team that they're in charge of your knowledge bits now. There are also people you said got promoted and are more now expert in their field. Did you have
Yeah.
other examples like that?
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, definitely that we have a principle of promoting from within first. You know,
Yeah.
I love that our senior support manager who oversees our entire support team, was a frontline support agent when she started and,
Mm,
gradually took on more and more responsibility and is just my absolute like best partner in implementing all of these experiments and everything like that. And, to be able to invest in the people that we have and to identify talent and skill instead of first looking outward and
yeah.
bringing which we've done some of that and it
I
doesn't
think
work as
as a leader, it's always a great feeling when you manage to help someone grow and grow of your team. I
yeah,
always love that in marketing. I'm sure it's the same for you in ops. So,
no, definitely. So we also invest heavily, like we kind of front load our investment in
mhm,
terms of recruitment, in terms of training. So we spend a good amount of time in hiring and making sure that people not only have the skills that we need, but we have values interviews that we do. We have our values at Givebutter are not just like the thing that is posted on our website. Like they're really core to our operations and how we
yeah,
run as a business. And so that leads to different questions in our interviews that kind of see, is this someone who's going to add to our culture and be a great fit. And so in that, we spend time on the hiring and then particularly on the support side, we invest in the training probably more than I've heard, with competitors. That I think a lot of times it's like they think, hey, we put someone in, they've got a help center, they can just like go search the help center. Well, now we have an AI bot that can just like be that kind of person who can go and just search a help center.
mhm,
And we want to make sure that we actually have like a 3 month training period with our support team where they are, starting with mock trainings and then they go into shadowing and they go into reverse shadowing so that by the time they're fully released into the wild, they are very confident in knowing our product and it's also really important because like the breadth of our product has grown quite a bit.
mhm.
We used to have just fundraising tools, but now we
Yeah,
have marketing tools and now we have
yeah,
a
all the
CRM,
campaigns.
and all these different things. And so it's like they've got to know all those different things and be able to be ready to handle those more complex questions that the AI bot can't. And so we really invest early in the team.
Mhm.
We feel it's really important to value the team and have a great culture. With our overseas team, we actually just brought them all on full time.
Okay.
They're no longer contractors because we feel like these are people who are core to our business and they deserve health insurance and they deserve paid time off and all those things that, for us, again, it's costly and expensive to have high turnover. And
Yes.
we want to invest in our people and grow our people and they take care of our customers and we want to take care of them. And so in that, investing in them and helping them grow in their careers and their
Mm,
skills and helping them have the security that they need at home to be able to come to work refreshed and
yeah.
ready to support our customers is really important to us.
How many people are you onboarding on the team every quarter?
Yeah, so we actually did a big so we were oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the exact numbers, but we were
It can be
close.
a ballpark.
Yeah. We were about, I want to say like 12 on the support team about 6 to 8 months ago, and now we're
Okay.
about 22
Okay.
on our overseas team. Part of that growth was at the same time all the experiments all at once. We went from regular business hours to being 24/7,
Mhm.
and so that was another thing that we really wanted to do, but we couldn't do that cost effectively if we stayed in the U.S.
Mhm.
And so with that transition to 24/7, we now are like at 22 frontline support team members. So
Okay, cool. We're getting towards the end, but I wanted to ask you about your thoughts about where you're going to go next with AI now. So you already have, I think, done significant improvements to how you operate, how you manage to scale. But what do you see in the future for you and for
yeah,
Givebutter, for example?
so one of the things that's kind of fresh for me is that as I mentioned earlier, one of the pieces of my role is to ensure that the customer voice is well represented across the company.
Mm,
And so we have just huge amounts of customer input, from customer conversations on the support side to public reviews to CSAT surveys and NPS surveys, and we use Canny for feature requests. There's just no shortage of customer feedback, which is
yeah.
great. We absolutely love that. We are a product led. We have product led growth here at Givebutter. We are listening to our customers. That's how we know where to go next with our roadmap. And so, with that, all that information can be overwhelming, and it's a lot of
Mhm.
noise. And so, we're working on a proof of concept right now to leverage AI to take all of those inputs and boil it down into the trends and the things that we're seeing, that like we're seeing negative sentiment around XYZ feature, that we just released, or positive sentiment, or we're seeing a spike in Stripe conversations that are coming in, and leveraging AI to do those things, because we've found in the past that we've used tools that can help us kind of understand trends based on like the keywords that are in conversations, but it's a little bit messy where keywords kind of cross over from one topic to the next. But AI is like really good at categorizing, understanding like customer sentiment, and things like that. And so being able to have a tool that can help us understand those trends and understand how our customers are feeling about different features and different experiences within our platform, I think is really great. And so the goal is to have actionable insights that our
Mm.
team can provide out to other teams on the company, particularly the product team, to help them improve their piece of the pie.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, definitely a trend that we also saw other customers starting to explore.
Yeah,
Any last thought before I leave you? Because it was really, I think, like 30 minutes of packed information from you.
yeah.
Was really great. Anything else
Um,
you think you want to share before we end up?
I was just looking over my notes. I think we hit everything that we were
I
hoping
think so.
to
Yes.
hit in our conversation. It's just been really great. It I think one of the things that is is really important in scaling is having great vendor partnerships.
Mhm.
As I was just thinking about, the three different tools that I'd mentioned earlier, from Intercom to Sift to Forest Admin. As we've grown, a lot of these companies have grown with us, and we have great customer success managers and support, and it's been exciting to be able to, I think, come at these things as partners with our vendors, where we're building things together, we're building new solutions together. We as the customer have needs,
Mm-mm.
the vendor is excited about new features, and they want the features that are going to meet our needs. And so I think we've spent time fostering those relationships and really investing in those relationships with our vendors so that they know what our needs are. And when we have issues or we run into things, we've got a relationship and they're ready to be responsive and help us get those issues fixed. And I don't know, that just kind of popped into my mind as
Yeah,
a
no,
final thought.
I mean, that makes total sense, like having this ecosystem, but also really investing in those relationships. It's
Yeah.
great. Mark, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for those stories. I hope that people that are going to listen to this podcast are going to also find them as fascinating and enlightening as I found them. So thank you again. And of course, you're always welcome back on the podcast.
Awesome. Guillaume, it's been great to talk with you. And I know you've given me a little preview of some of the other guests coming, and I'm like, I can't wait for the other episodes to be released that I can listen to as well.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
Okay. See ya.
Have a nice day.